Let's talk about Alfredo Di Stéfano. You see, he wasn't just a great footballer. He was more like an event, a fundamental shift in how the game was played, how it was understood, and, yeah, how it was dominated. This is the story of the man who didn't just play football, he redesigned it from the ground.
He was a revolution. I mean, that's a bold statement, right? But honestly, it's the only one that truly fits. Before him, football had pretty defined roles and positions. After him, the possibilities seemed, well, limitless. He was like a force of nature that just changed the entire landscape of the sport.
So that's the real question, isn't it? How did one single guy manage to change the very DNA of a global sport? Because it wasn't just about scoring goals or winning trophies. No, it was about a complete reimagining of what a single player could be and what a team could achieve through him. We're going to break down exactly how he pulled it off.
And this right here, this is the absolute key to understanding his genius. He wasn't a forward or a midfielder or a defender. He was all of them, all at once. The man had this kind of sixth sense for the game's rhythm, just appearing exactly where he was needed, moment by moment.
All right, so to really understand the revolutionary, you have to go back to where he came from. And his story starts a long, long way from the structured, tactical fields of Europe.
So he was born in Buenos Aires back in 1926. He honed that unique talent of his at the legendary club River Plate. But really, it was the whole environment of South American football, this political and sporting chaos that allowed his free-flowing, unpredictable style to really blossom. And this is so crucial. He played with total freedom. This was an era before rigid formations and tactical straitjackets became the norm. So Di Stéfano, he learned to read the game, not a playbook. He moved where his intelligence told him to go, unburdened by this idea that a forward had to stay up front. So get this, before he ever even kicked a ball in a major European competition, his reputation was already mythical. He was a phenomenon in South America, a player whose talent was so huge, so different, that whispers of his greatness crossed the Atlantic long before he did.
And then came the move that wouldn't just define his career, but the entire history of European club football. This was the conquest.
In 1953, Alfredo Di Stéfano joins Real Madrid, and just like that, boom, history changed. I'm not talking about just a big signing. This was like a year zero moment for Real Madrid and for the brand new European Cup. The arrival of one man instantly created the continent's first ever super club.
Just look at that number on the screen. 5. In a row, right from the very start of the competition. It's an achievement that's, well, it's frankly impossible to imagine happening today. This number alone is the entire foundation of Real Madrid's continental legacy. Now, if that wasn't enough, check out the consistency. The 1956 final, he scored. 57, scored. 58, 59, 60, yep, scored in all of them. It's one thing to win 5 finals. It's another thing completely to be the guy who scores in every single one. He didn't just lead his team there. He delivered on the biggest stage every single time. And this quote just brilliantly explains how they did it. He wasn't just the star. He was the system. Real Madrid's tactic was Di Stéfano. The plan was just to let him run the game from every corner of the pitch. He was the team's engine, its brain, and its spearhead, all at once.
But his legacy isn't just about all the trophies. It's about the very blueprint he created for the modern player.
Today, we talk about box-to-box midfielders, or total footballers. Well, Di Stéfano was the original. He basically invented this concept decades before it even had a name. He was the kind of player who could control a match from defense to attack just through his sheer intelligence and will.
It sounds like I'm exaggerating, but the old reports and the footage, they all confirm it. He was everywhere. You would see him making a tackle on the edge of his own penalty box, and then 30 seconds later, scoring at the other end. His stamina and his ability to read the game were just on another level.
He didn't just build a team, he built a culture. This ethos, this relentless demand for excellence, it became the DNA of Real Madrid. He's the one who instilled the idea that for a club this big, winning wasn't just a goal. Nope, it was the baseline expectation. It was an obligation.
So what's the ultimate legacy of this prototype for greatness?
Well, this is one of the great ironies in all of sports history. On one side, you have total club dominance, 5 European Cups, a decade packed with trophies. And on the other side, 0 World Cup appearances. The man who was arguably the greatest player on the planet for a decade never once played on football's biggest stage. It's wild.
But here's the crucial point. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't. His impact wasn't about one tournament. His impact was on the fundamental mechanics of the game itself. He changed how football was played every single week, and that influence is so much more profound.
You really can't put it any more clearly than that. He represents a dividing line in the sport's history. There is a before and an after. He was the bridge from the old era of fixed positions to the modern era of fluid, intelligent, total football.
So, if there's one crucial takeaway, it's this. He embodied all these core concepts before they were even concepts. He was playing total football before it became a famous Dutch philosophy. He was a leader whose brand was simply winning, and his dominance was something you felt on the pitch, not just something you measured in spreadsheets.
And that's where we'll leave it. He set the standard. He was the original model from which so many other legends were cast. So the question isn't whether he's one of the greatest of all time. The real question is, would any of the greats who followed even exist in the same way without the prototype he created?